I was gonna. Okay.
Good evening. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the schedule of the meetings of the Township Council established and adopted by Township Council, which schedules designated the time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. We are using an electronic amplifying and recording device in order to obtain a clear and audible record, and request all those wishing to speak be recognized and state your name and address directly to the microphone. The recording device will be solely utilized by the Township Clerk's office for the preparation of the minutes and shall be the official record of the Township Council meetings. Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call, please?
Mr. Mignone.
Here.
Mrs. Albright Trostle.
She is on vacation.
Mrs. Grace Love. Here. Mr. Nash.
Here.
Mrs. Walters. Here. Mrs. Winters. Here. Mr. Mercado.
Present.
Mr. Parliament.
He is ill.
Mr. Cardis.
Here.
Chief Harkins.
Here.
Mr. McGill.
Here.
We have a special presentation tonight from the Gloucester Township Police Department recognizing volunteers in the Citizens Police Academy graduation. Chief Harkins.
Council President, if you would join me down to administer the oath. So we are very, as part of our community policing programs, we have two pinnacle programs that I encourage everybody to get involved, especially the Citizens Police Academy. But also I want to recognize our volunteers. Many of them are here. These are members of our community who assist the police department with support roles in various events. If we have a large scale incident, they can get called out, but they're truly volunteers. They assist us in our Coffee with a Cop, our community events, Gloucester Township Day. I could go down the list. They're here for so many things, and they're here to just out of support of the police department, the officers. And what this does is frees up officers to do other roles. They've been invaluable. It's one of our most successful programs that we've implemented with the cadre and the caliber of these folks that assist us every day. So to the existing volunteers that are here, I thank you on behalf of all the men and women of the Gloucester Township Police Department. And tonight I'm proud to have us swear in two new volunteers. So I'd ask Deborah Vigos come up, and Angela Oberholzer also. Please, your family can come up as well if they like. We're actually going to swear you in, and this is to take part in any of the activities that the officers, being part of the police department, they have to take an oath because they have access. They go through background checks to be able to have access to certain information that we have. So it's a big deal for us, and we appreciate them coming forward. So that's why we actually swear them in. One of the prerequisites is to be a volunteer is to do what all you folks, we're going to recognize them at the Citizens Police Academy. So these ladies, Mr. President, attended our last session of the Citizens Police Academy, and we got them on board. So I also asked Lieutenant Paul Fisher, our Community Relations Bureau Commander, to come up and join because he falls under their command. So at this time, Council President, I would respectfully request that you swear in these two new police volunteers. Come on in, please. Yeah, we'll get the pictures. How you doing?
So you'll place your left hand, raise your right hand.
Yeah, so we can see it. Come on over here, sir.
Left hand. Right hand. Congratulations. If you can please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established under the authority of the people. I further solemnly swear that I will faithfully and impartially and justly perform all the duties of, state your title, to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations, ladies.
Thank you very much. Hang tight. We'll get a picture. Now we can get an arrow. Thank you, guys. Thank you. And Council President, just stay with me to present the certificates. So our Citizens Police Academy, again, one of our most successful programs. Some members of council in the past have done it, members of the administration. And I'll just say this, it is a 14-week program that typically starts in January. So we're in the fall, we'll be putting out for signups again to attend later January. We'll get the exact dates. They're being worked out right now by Lieutenant Fisher. And so these folks dedicate several hours a night on a Wednesday night, typically for 14 weeks, to come and learn about the Gloucester Township Police Department. And they truly get an inside look at everything that we do. They get some of the administration, they get dispatch, they get operations, the patrol, they get detectives, they get how they do investigations. They do internal affairs, you learn about firearms and the training center, traffic, what the traffic unit does, what our Juvenile Family Services Bureau, probably one of their favorite nights is the K-9 unit. They learn about the K-9 unit, the special response team. They get to see them and the equipment. They also get certified in CPR, right? They also get to learn the ins and outs of police operation. I think it's fair to say that a lot of questions get answered, correct? People come to the Citizens Police Academy, and we always encourage even those that have questions or about how the police department operates, why we do certain things. We explain some things. I'm there the opening night. The mayor joins us. And they go through and get to meet all the leaders of the police department. And they really get to know the police department. And they become part of the police department. And so we thank all of those citizens, and we encourage everyone to attend the Citizens Police. And it's a big deal. It's they have to write up reviews. We like to hear how we did. They, like I said, they learn CPR, and it is a prerequisite for those that want to move on to become a volunteer. That's how intense sometimes the information they get. So folks, I want to thank you and for all attending, all the past attendees of our Citizens Police Academy, and for anyone that wants to learn about what we do procedurally. You want to know about how things happen here in Gloucester Township, our approach, our mindset, our community policing programs, and how it all comes together in the police operations and how we keep this place going and the town protected 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The Citizens Police Academy is the way to come and learn that. So thank you, folks. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Lieutenant Fisher, who's going to announce the names of, so this is run through our Community Relations Bureau under Lieutenant Fisher's command. Officer O'Renix, one of the main organizers. Corporal McHugh is the other Community Relations Officer. They're there every week with the Citizens Police Academy group, making sure everything gets done right. And they do such a fantastic job. Like I said, I'm very proud of our Citizens Police Academy, and we encourage anyone to attend that so they can learn about how we operate, and answers a lot of questions. So, Lieutenant Fisher.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate it. So first off, thank you to everyone who was able to come out and have such an interest in one of our many community relations programs that we have. I hope you got a lot out of it. I would like to thank Officer Rennick and McHugh for all their hard work putting into it with the scheduling, and then all of the instructors. We had some great outside instructors, and then a lot of with the Narcan and Narcan certifications and CPR. I'd like to thank all the officer instructors as well. So I hope you guys got a lot out of it. You had a lot of great questions, and I feel like a lot of good questions got answered, whether it be during or afterwards. So with that, I'd like to announce all of the graduates. If you come up, grab your certificate, and then if you could stay up here, and we'll get one group picture. Should be Mark Leone Zwillinger. Jessica Delgado. Catherine Delgado. Amy Paz Delgado. Congratulations. To the whole table. Elliot Rosen. Autumn Truong. Doug Mulholland. Kevin Davis. Kevin's been back a few times.
It's all right. You're always welcome. He's not the only one. We'd love to have you, Kevin, every time.
Dr. Bill Emile Humsey.
Thank you, sir.
Christina Scully. Congratulations. Reem Nasir. Chris Fowler. Heather Fowler. Ronald Hill. Cheryl Whalen Hill. Debbie Aaron. Benita Joy Morrison. Debbie Schretzman.
You too.
Robert Tretzman.
Thank you.
Is Margaret Nicholson here? Joseph Y. Miller. And Jemiah Johnson.
All right. Folks, we're gonna get over here, we're gonna get a group picture. So, okay. See this one?
Hendricks.
Yes. We have. Oh, Miss Karen, I'm sorry. Congratulations. We really appreciate it. And we missed
And we miss Miss Jasmine Franklin.
Sorry, Jasmine. CPA. 1, 2, 3.
CPA.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope you got it. Pass the word. That's what it is. Thanks.
We'll take a brief recess.
Yes. Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get you. Thank you. I'm done.
Yes, I'd like to get it right now.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Make sure no one follows.
I hope you see your plans. Let's put them in on the count of three, everyone say sit. 1, 2, 3. You know, so you get used to it.
Yeah, I'll look at my deleted on
Yeah. We eat well with that. Driving a lot of stuff. My ways to testify to that. We appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. We appreciate all you guys. Our volunteers are the best. Thank you guys. See you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you everybody.
Bye. Bye, Chad.
Bye, Chad.
No, good. As you can see, it's starting to
We're going to reconvene our meeting. Madam Clerk, have a roll call again, please.
Mr. Minio? Here. Mrs. Gracewell? Here. Mr. Nash?
Here.
Mrs. Walters? Here. Mrs. Winters? Here. Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. Cardis?
Here.
Chief Harkins?
Here.
Mr. McGill?
Here.
We'll now have our first public portion. This is for agenda items only. Anyone addressing council may speak one time. Each speaker is entitled to 3 minutes. There's a total of 15 minutes total for the first public portion. Once an individual's had addressed council, they may address council second time, only if it asks what was said earlier, not repeating earlier statements. Anyone would like to speak, for the first public portion? This is an agenda item, sir? Okay. Mr. Leader?
David Leader, Huntington Avenue, Glendora.
Good evening.
My voice is a little weak tonight from the allergies and so forth. I hope you can hear. I'm looking at R 2408280. The subject appears to be the word unit. Is that a vehicle?
Chief, the Special Response Unit.
Yes,
Team.
yes, the vehicle.
Thank you. R 2408281 refers to Oak Avenue to Evesham for, I guess it's a fitness trail. There's 2 Oak Avenues in that geography. One's a dead-end street that runs off of Evesham. The other one is south of Big Timber Creek. From what I understand, there's no bridge from the trail across the creek. So I just thought I'd bring that to your attention. I don't know which Oak Avenue you're referring to in that statement.
Mr. Carter, I believe this is the Oak Avenue in the Hilltop section.
I believe it is, Mr. McGill.
Yes.
Is where the last connection of the health fitness trail.
Okay, is it going to be troublesome to get the path over the creek?
I mean, it'll have to be constructed in normal practices, so I mean, it's not as simple as other ones, I'd say, but.
That's your
I wouldn't
plan.
say it's troublesome.
Okay. Thank you, Council.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on agenda items only? Ms. Smithman.
Hi, good evening, Council. My name is Shaughnessy Smithman. I live in the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex on Millbrook Court, apartment 341. I previously had a question on the, what is it called, a bicycle trail that was running between Oak Avenue and Evesham Road. If it's up on the agenda again, was it ever mentioned on who the electrical contractor was going to be that was assigned to that project?
Mr. McGill?
The project wasn't awarded, this is to reject it, so there wasn't a contractor awarded. The project wasn't awarded, so there wasn't an electrical contractor set up at this point. This is to reject the bids.
All right, thank you.
Is there anyone else? We'll close the first public portion. Bid report 2024 emergency generator maintenance and inspection services. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? Thank you. On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Minio?
Yes.
Mrs. Gracewell? Yes. Mr. Nash?
Yes.
Mrs. Walters? Yes. Mrs. Lennox? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Next is ordinance 0-24-18. It's a second reading, and there will be a public hearing for it. Ordinance 0-24-18, ordinance amending chapter 81 of the Code of the Township of Gloucester entitled Vehicles and Traffic of the Code of the Township of Gloucester. This amends the section 8126 for a no turn on red and is hereby amended to read as follows. Jarvis Road and Sicklerville Road, direction of travel southbound. There are prohibited right turns on red at the southbound Jarvis Road and at the intersection of Sicklerville Road due to limited intersection sight distance at this approach. Now open up the public hearing. And would like to speak on this ordinance. Seeing none, close the public hearing. May I have a motion, please?
Make that motion.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Minio?
Yes.
Mrs. Gracewell?
Yes.
Mr. Nash?
Yes.
Mrs. Walters? Yes. Mrs. Lennox? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Next is ordinance -0-24-13 is a second reading, and there will be a public hearing. In ordinance of the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, adopting prohibited uses to the land development ordinance. What this does is amends the land development ordinance, Article 2, definition of word use, section 500-202 definitions, be amended to add the following: short-term rental, what a short-term rental is, but not limited to Airbnb, Vrbo, HomeAway, Flipkey, Tripping.com, Booking.com, TripAdvisor, and not associated with regulated commercial activities such as hotel, motel, and what a bed and breakfast is, overnight accommodations, that this development is to be amended to add the following, that short-term rentals in all residential use districts and bed and breakfasts prohibits the use. I now open up the public hearing on this matter. Anyone wish to speak on it? Seeing none, close the public hearing. I entertain a motion.
Make that motion.
There's a second? On the question, just a reminder, this is contingent upon the outcome of the planning board meeting tomorrow. Roll call, please.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mrs. Graceful? Yes. Mr. Nash?
Yes.
Mrs. Walters? Yes. Mrs. Winters? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes, next is our consent agenda. Any council member would like to have any of the items removed, please speak up. Hearing none, I entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Make that motion.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mrs. Graceful? Yes. Mr. Nash?
Yes.
Mrs. Walters? Yes. Mrs. Winters? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Next is our GTE Gov access emails. We have 6 of them this evening. Mr. Leader, you have 4 of those 6. So, yes. So I'm going to read the other 2 first. If you like to read your e-govs, you can do so, but that'll be during your time during the second public portion.
I don't have a voice for it.
So therefore, I will read them during the second public portion, but it's going to count towards your time because you're in attendance today.
Yes, I understand.
Okay. All right. So first is from Donna Leonardis, 1500 Jarvis Road, Sicklerville. The agenda for this August 8th special meeting indicates that the township is entering into agreement of sale with American Water. The agreement of sale, my response, the agreement of sale is a final form but has not yet been executed by the parties and is subject to a referendum passing in November. Her next question, what language is in that agreement that avoids it in its entirety should the residents vote no in November to the proposed sale? If the referendum does not pass, the agreement will not be signed. Next question, is there language in that agreement that requires the township to pay a fee or some other remedy to American Water should this sale fall through that the council will try to leverage as a reason to go forward with the sale? No, there is not. Isn't it premature for the township to enter into agreement of sale before the vote results after the November election? The response, the township has not at any point entered into agreement of sale. The ordinance that was adopted on August 8th authorized the execution of the agreement only if the referendum passes in November. The last question, is the full agreement of sale draft available for residents to view as a public record? Yes, it has been posted on the township's website since it was first introduced on July 8th under the clerk's tab on our homepage. Our next question is from Trish Reichert at 1012 Melrose Avenue. In a patch article from today, Council President Mercado stated the following. If the referendum passes, the Township of New Jersey American Water will execute the sale. The process typically takes about 6 months with a closing estimated for the end of June 2025. Mercado said, but if the referendum fails, the sale won't happen unless council decides to commence a new procurement process in the future, Mercado said. My question is, what exactly do you mean by unless council decides to commence a new procurement process in the future? Does the residents voting against the sale on November 5th not matter? Are you saying council is just going to find another way to sell to American Water? Please clarify your statement, quote, Mr. Mercado. If the referendum does not pass, Ms. Reichert, November 2024, the agreement of sale will not be executed and the sale process will not move forward this year. Council may or may not decide to initiate a new procurement at some point in the future. So that is an option. Okay, so the next four from Mr. Leader, so this will be read during the public portion, since Mr. Leader is in attendance today, and I'll be reading it. This will count as towards the 30 minutes time that we have for our second public portion. So the public portions for any item that the public chooses to address, anyone addressing council may speak one time. Each speaker is entitled to 5 minutes. Once all those wishing to address council have had their turns, they may address the council a second time, only if it adds to what was said earlier, not repeating earlier statements. So the first question from Mr. Leader at 1105 Huntington Avenue. After the July 22nd, 24 council meeting, I spoke to the council president about increasing the second public portion from 30 minutes to at least 60 minutes. President Mercado agreed to bring this up to council at the council planning meeting that occurs in January 2025. I thank you. I just wanted this discussion to be on record. Mr. Leader grabbed me here at the end of that meeting and indicated is it possible that we can have additional time for a public portion. We currently have 15 minutes for the first public portion on agenda items, 30 minutes for the second public portion. When we have our reorganization of council, which takes place in January, that is when those changes are made. Next, from David Leader at 1105 Huntington Avenue. How can the public be notified of press releases and public announcements? Clerk said nixle from police, but not happening. Clerk said press notified, i.e. the chief, mayor, and other dignitaries about Gloucester Township Day. I would have attended. The township advises the public about news and announcements a variety of ways. The Gloucester Township's website, our Facebook page, a Twitter feed, an Instagram site. The mayor has a weekly newsletter called GT Works, and those archives can be found on the township's website under the mayor's weekly newsletter. Also, a resident may also receive the newsletter weekly in their inbox by signing up with the township's Nixle service at the same web page. Regarding the Gloucester Township press conference that took place regarding Gloucester Township Day, the mayor attended. That was arranged by the 4th District legislators, Senator Moriarty, Assemblyman Hutchinson, Assemblyman Cody Miller. Any advisories concerning that press conference were handled by the local legislative office. Our next EGOV or comment is from David Leader, 1105 Huntington Avenue. Will there be a working meeting to gather public and council input, corrections, and additions to the draft of the 7524 sewer utility draft agreement of sale between Gloucester Township and New Jersey American Water document? I have some inputs and I'd like to consider. No, there is not. That meeting moved forward and the second reading took place on August 8th. And we had 3 hours worth of comments from residents at that meeting. And the last question from Mr. Leader, 1105 Huntington Avenue. As a courtesy to council, I'm copying below a message that I emailed to the mayor. I do expect a response from the mayor. Subject, the barbecue is free. Sale of the sewer division. The free barbecue is celebrating our veterans. Someone has to pay for it. Who is buying us a barbecue? The barbecue is a free admission to veterans and their families who join them in attendance. To be clear, of course, there's a cost associated with that barbecue, and the township will be using some of the operational budget for public events to fund this event. I see it as a small price to show some appreciation to our veterans and for their service to our country. In addition, there may, in the future, be events that are sponsored by from private industry as well. 2, why were you not present last night at the public meeting on the sale of the sewer division? This is directed towards the mayor. The mayor, as the township's chief executive officer, does not, as a practice, attend township council meetings, as these meetings are hosted and conducted by the township council to conduct its legislative affairs. As I mentioned at the August 8th, 2024 meeting and prior, the mayor has recused himself from all matters involving the township exploring a potential sale of the sewer utility back in March. Accordingly, it would not be expected for any official to attend a meeting on a topic that they recused themselves from, and it's unsurprising that the mayor did not attend that meeting on August 8th. 3, Why was Gabrielle Mosquera, who's the Director of Sewer Division, not present to discuss the sale of the Sewer Division? Ms. Mosquera reports to the Business Administrator. There's no need to have the Director of Sewer Department to be present at the hearing to answer questions about the sale, since the Director is not involved with the process of the sale. Lastly, why do your monthly newsletters only address you posing for pictures and good news? I want to cobble these together. Have you ever addressed the current township issue in the newsletter in the past? And lastly, what communication mechanism do you, the mayor, have with the citizens of the township of Gloucester? Concerning questions number 4 through 6, the mayor's office will typically compile various topics of interest to residents from a variety of events or projects going on in town. As a practice, the mayor typically tries to bring attention to positive things that are going around in our township, which often get drowned out by other things that may take place. The administration will use a variety of communication means to convey information, such as the township's website, its Facebook page, Twitter feed, Instagram, and its mayor's weekly newsletter, which is GT Works. So that concludes our questions. Anyone else that would like to speak during this public portion? Ms. Smith.
Hi, good evening, Council. My name is Shaughnessy Smithman. I live in the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex on Millbrook Court, apartment 341. It's considered Clementon, New Jersey, but I'm told I'm to utilize the Gloucester Township, New Jersey Police Department and municipalities. Hello, Council.
Hello.
There was a ceremony this evening to celebrate. Apparently there were some local citizens that attended a volunteer type service for the local police department. When I was a child, I grew up in Williamstown, that's Monroe Township. It's in Gloucester County. I have an older sibling who's about 8.5 years older than me, a little bit more. So around 1986, 1987, would have been 7 or 8. Kimberly dated Walter Isavon. His family, his parents were, or his father was a police officer from Monroe Township. So I have little tidbits of information. She made me aware when I began to drive. If a police officer pulls me over and his badge does not match his police vehicle, I don't have to give them any information. They may not be an actual police officer. Different things as such. My sister I was latchkey, sort of. She was responsible for watching me since my parents both worked. Another local resident to Victory Lakes was Maria Botsford, her mother Gloria Botsford. Her son committed suicide. He shot himself. Gloria Botsford was prescribed psychiatric medication, most likely for the grief. Kimberly liked to throw parties, have people over drinking and such. She would take Gloria Botsford medication and give it to me. She would spike my juice or my food. They thought it was funny. Walter Isavon would have been attending those parties. He would have been fully aware of an elementary school child passed out. It must have been very comical to them that it's a police officer's child. So forgive me if I'm not running to the volunteer line to learn how to be a police officer. I'm still trying to learn how to be a citizen without offending anybody, because what they're permitted to do, it really seems illegal. My father was a local barfly. The police officers were all fully aware that my mother left several times. My father drank. My father grew up in this town on Oak Avenue, 34 Oak Avenue to be specific, which is the hilltop section. They would have been aware of his family. I'm the youngest daughter of Harry Cortland Smithman, Jr. I have been having trouble with my identity, fraud against the state, with funds being fraudulently acquired in my name. I brought this matter to the police, the local Gloucester Township Police Department. There were several meetings. There was one meeting where they said that it was out of their jurisdiction after they opened and closed a case. They said I had to go to the township where the crime occurred, which would be Pennsauken Township. Yet they communicated with the Camden County Prosecutor's Office. I went there, and the Camden County Prosecutor's Office told me that they spoke with the Gloucester Township, New Jersey Police Department, the detective on the case, and they transferred emails back and forth, and that I'm not permitted to see my own case file, that I have to go through an Open Public Records Act request. I'm going to go back a little bit further. Before I went to work and earned money for people to steal, before I actually had an identity worth taking, I still don't think it's worth anything. Nobody's that special for this much effort to go into taking over somebody's life. At 15, when I became pregnant, the Williamstown High School, I told them, I said, I have to use the bathroom more often, and I don't know if I can take gym every time I have gym class, physical education. They said that there was no acknowledgement that I was pregnant unless I had a note from a doctor. All the different things I had to go through the local municipalities. Nobody called the police when a pregnant 15-year-old girl was having trouble trying to figure out how to maneuver through the legalities of the local township law. I have 4 seconds left. If I'm permitted to come back up and speak, I'm sure I can focus on a different topic. Thank you, Council.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Mr. Leader?
David Leader, 1105 Huntington Avenue, Glendora. Mr. Mercado, it's my understanding that you are the HR director of the township. Is that accurate?
No, that's not accurate.
I'm sorry.
I work for the Gloucester Township Public School District as a human resources supervisor,
I see.
but for the school district.
Thank you. And Mr. Cardis, I understand that the division directors report to you?
Directors report to the mayor, but the mayor also allows the directors to report to me. I'm the director in charge of administration and finance, and there are several divisions under my department.
Thank you. I'd like you to think back about a month ago when Mr. Anthony Calabrese came before you and talked about his troubles in getting a sit-down meeting that he requested electronically in email with the division director of the sewer division. And he's never gotten anything but kind of a runaround asking for more details about what the meeting is about. That meeting has not yet taken place as of 2 days ago with the director of the sewer division. Having been a manager of business organizations in my past, I find that when an employee asks for help, the HR department and the director in this case is, or whoever the person's manager is, that he's requesting a meeting with, or she, is usually noted, and that director or manager is encouraged by management to follow through on the request. Mr. Calabrese came here and said that he's been trying to get this meeting to take place, and it hasn't had any response other than email bounces back asking him for more information. It seems to me, after I learned that Mr. Calabrese is the shop steward for that organization and represents those employees from the union side, it's even more important that management take the time to talk to Mr. Calabrese. I find it in poor practice that no one has brought this attention to Mr. Calabrese, and he had his chance to meet with his division director. In the companies I work for, I would, if I was that manager or director or vice president, I would have been severely reprimanded, and I also would not have enjoyed a bonus or a salary increase that year. There's no question in the companies I work for that that would have happened that way. If we ignored an employee, that's just unexpected behavior for an executive of any company. To ignore a shop steward is even more grievous, because the shop steward, as well as the managers and supervisors, represent the employees of that company. And you should never fail to take an opportunity to talk with your employees about whatever issues the employee may have on their mind. So I'm pretty uncomfortable that nothing has happened to assist Mr. Calabrese in his quest to talk to the director of the division. Would anyone care to respond?
There is a separation of our government here. We're legislative, we're not the administrative. We don't oversee any employees. That is the role of the administration.
I understand that. But somebody here, so I need to talk to the mayor, because the mayor talks to Mr. Cardis, and Mr. Cardis talks to the directors. So I need to bring this case before the mayor, which is almost as embarrassing as having Mr. Calabrese stand here and be excused with not even a comment a month ago. Could you give me some advice on how I would carry Mr. Calabrese's concerns forward to the Township of Gloucester?
I don't have any advice, Mr. Cardis. Is there something that?
You have a list of Mr. Calabrese's concerns?
No, I'm not privy to that. I'm not an employee of the township.
Nor do I, Mr. Leader, nor do I.
But your director,
He has not submitted a list. You're asking for a meeting without a list. In this particular instance, if he was, wrong, he would be subject to the grievance process. He has not brought a grievance before the township. I have not heard from Gabby Moscara, the director of sewer utility, that Mr. Calabrese has brought a grievance before her. So if a general meeting is being requested to know where we are going, I have to tell you, there are no answers right now as to where we're going, because as you're keenly aware, there is a referendum that will be on the November ballot that will change things dramatically, or it will stay the same. There is nothing changing for Mr. Calabrese. Nothing has changed as far as assignments. Nothing has changed with regard to rate of pay. Nothing has changed. So again, without something in writing submitted through the formal process, and as you just mentioned, you're familiar with HR, so you know there are formal processes involved with grievances or meetings. If you have items that you want to discuss, they've not been submitted.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cardis. Thank you, Mr. Leader. Anyone else like to speak? Yes.
Good evening, Council.
I'm having a hard time.
Okay. Good evening, Council. My name is Mary Hendricks. I reside at 10 Brown Avenue in the Hilltop section of Blackwood. And I'm unable to come to the council meetings because of my work. I'm in the medical field. Tonight, I had a special reason for coming. I have a question. Is it always Gloucester Township's, how can I say, the way they hire for this MUA? Is it their practice to always hire somebody who is not, wouldn't say not capable, don't know the workings of the MUA. My understanding was she was a senator or whatever, or council person or something in Washington Township. She had some office, and she was also the mayor's, worked in the mayor's office. So how can she be promoted to a job like that, MUA, when she has no experience, no idea about the working system of the MUA? It just seems like, wouldn't that be for somebody else in the realm of the utility to take on? Somebody who works there, knows the working components, who knows how the department works and how to handle it, and how to approach their employees. I mean, she's the director. Shouldn't she be aware of what she's doing? Shouldn't she make appearances at the MUA? At least show her face so these guys, well, we all know who she is. But to come around and say, hey, how's things going? Is there a problem? Not wait for somebody to have to come and say, I want to hold a meeting. Go to them and say, hey, is there a problem? You know, it should be an open door policy. And I don't see where there's an open door policy here at all for the men who work for the MUA. And I've been in Gloucester Township many years. I went through school here. And I think what the council's doing is pretty dirty, because it's all going to affect yous too. And my next thing is, how well are you guys into doing communities, getting to really know your community in Gloucester Township, your residents, all the council people up there, the mayor? How would you really get involved? Are you really into going out and meeting the community? I'm not talking about taking photo ops or opening new businesses. How about getting out there and meeting them by helping and cleaning our streets, neighborhood by neighborhood?
I've been the president of Gloucester Township Baseball and Flag Football, 600 players for over 13 years now.
Ms. Grace?
And I'm a social worker, and I've been very diligently in the community for many years, getting my hands dirty.
Well, I understand that you all have, you know, you're in
Ms.
all
Hendricks,
these youth.
I don't want to interrupt you,
things.
but all these individuals are intimately involved
I
with the
understand.
township.
Yes, I understand.
Very involved, and no, prior to any individual being on council.
And I also.
But let me
So,
go a little further.
okay, please go further.
Okay, I not only do I take pride in my community here, but I also belong to an organization in Camden City, who the mayor is Vic. I don't know how to say his last name. They're council people. They're involved in baseball, football. They're involved in the organization that I'm involved in. Every year, we go around, we volunteer, council, the mayor. They're out there just as much as we are, getting their hands dirty. They have regular jobs. They're involved, they're coaches on teams and all, on sports teams. Why can't we step up and do something like that and show the people, okay, they're not afraid to get their hands dirty. They're not just standing there coaching our kids. Let's go clean up the community. I know you have little trucks that say they're supposed to be out there cleaning up the streets and all. To be honest with you.
If you're interested in more activities, Pastor Mike is having a backpack drive just this week.
So the Camden over at Morgan Village.
On the 17th. I'm just making you aware that there are things that are going on in Gloucester Townships that are very similar to what Camden does. And we do get out, we are out in the community. You may not see us all the time. I even take phone calls. I handle phone calls from residents who talk about housing or need housing. So again, we've had this conversation before. You know, it's kind of disheartening when you don't think we're doing things, but we
It's not,
always are doing
yeah, all right,
things.
you, okay.
And then the other thing that I want to share is that you talk about leadership or a position that that's being held. I'm listening to you. I sometimes relate a lot. I try to step in the shoes of other people, and when I do that, I hold a degree in social work, but I also have a principal certification. And I always said, can I do that job? Yes, I can. My professor said I can do that job. You want to know why? Because I'm trained in leadership. It doesn't mean I have to be a teacher. Now, I do have a teacher cert too, but I've never taught. But I can lead teachers because I have that leadership background. It's about leadership. It's about being a director. It's not just about because you haven't been in the trenches. It's that sometimes you have the qualifications to lead people. So I just want to respond to that because I can go be a principal and never taught a school in a school a day in my life. So it's about your leadership skills, whether you can lead folks. So if that helps your question a little bit in regards to that, I hope that's helpful. But again, it is disheartening because I know for a fact that all of us up here have passions about our different professions and what we work with, whether it's softball, baseball, or little league or community cleanups.
But community cleanups, I don't see too much. What do you mean, just the bike trail?
Believe me
The bike
when I
trail's
say,
not.
I can attest that when I got my property back, it was only worth $42,000. We cleaned up a community that housing development is now worth $211,000. So we worked hard, and not only did I work hard, the community and the people that lived in that community worked hard. And so do Gloucester. They do the same things that Greenwood does. I don't know how long you lived here in Gloucester Township, but I think you might be, if you've been here a while, you've been aware of that.
A long time.
I met, before I became a councilwoman, Councilwoman Winters used to go out and clean up, and she would come by and drop off volunteer stuff for her when we first got started, but she was cleaning up in parks or lakes or something like that, Blackwood Lake. So
Yeah.
it's something that we do all the time, and sometimes you don't see it because maybe I don't know, but we are very passionate about our community. We care. We wouldn't sit up here if we didn't care.
But
So I
you're
just wanna
talking
share.
about La
Okay.
Scada, Brittany Woods.
Thank you, Ms. Grace. Ms. Hendricks, your time is well
I'm
over.
talking about
Miss-
the
I'm
regular
sorry.
neighborhoods.
Okay, and I would imagine there are some people, when they have their council comments, if you'd like to know what they've done in our community, they'll tell you, or you can Google each and every one of us and see what we have done in our community. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
I know.
Is there anyone else that'd like to speak? Has not spoken. Ms. Smithman, you're our last speaker.
Hi, good evening, council. My name is Shaughnessy Smithman. I live in the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex on Millbrook Court, apartment 341. If I could, I know it's 5 minutes that I have to speak. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak again. 3 of the standing council members on today have actually been to my apartment when it was around election time to introduce themselves, to see different parts of the community. I have heard different volunteer projects and have seen the results of them. The traffic signals have been greatly improved on Blackwood Clementon Road at Kelly Drivers and Millbridge Road intersections, as well as the Broad Acres Drive, I think it's called. Is that where the old Rite Aid used to be? So thank you for that. See, the different things I've been going through that I've been trying to have assistance with from the township, from the local police department. I was told that I cannot get assistance with being a victim of identity theft unless I can first prove that I'm a victim. That is what the federal government told me. They need to assist me with proving that I'm a victim of identity theft. The local Gloucester Township Police Department has 2 different identifications within their system. One is for 341 Millbridge Road, even though I live on Millbrook Court. The other one is for 1341 Blackwood Clementon Road, apartment 341. for Clementon, New Jersey, 08021. The one that they have for 341 Millbridge Road, which is one of two ways, at least, to write my address, has a different picture. The Gloucester Township Police Department is telling me to look it up. I have to go to the Motor Vehicle Commission. I said, it's identity theft. The police department can visually see that my identity has been stolen, yet they won't assist. Like I said, from the time I was a small child, they help their children, not the 7-year-old. They made sure their kids didn't get in trouble. But I have parents too, but they didn't affect my parents either. And at 15, when I was pregnant, I was denied welfare. I had to fight a municipality at 15 years old to say, you have to cover the health insurance. I'm forced to give birth in a hospital. I'm not allowed to give birth at home. And you're telling me that I'm not old enough to work. You have to pay for that, I think, right? I don't know, because I was only 15. Nobody called the police. Not against the pregnancy, not against the parents for neglect, not for any type of extenuating circumstances that would have placed me in that position. They made a 15-year-old fight as an adult. And doing that, I worked myself into total mental exhaustion. They called it mental illness. I couldn't speak. My words were stammered. I couldn't sleep. I pushed my body to the brink, working in heavy construction, trying to raise a child, failing at it. He's now 30 and I don't recognize him. The local police here, not only did they try to place it to another municipality, they said I had to bring it to Pensacola Township. The Camden County Prosecutor's Office is now using the same words they are, yet they're exchanging information. I can't even access it because they won't acknowledge that it's a case that I opened. They took my case that I brought for a crime against the state, a crime against the federal government, identity theft. It includes human trafficking, both through insurance fraud, taking injuries to somebody's body, and using lawyers to sue companies for injuries to somebody who is not benefiting in any way from those lawsuits. They're not even aware that they're doing it. That's human trafficking. They go into the Section 8 and the Supportive Housing Connection, two separate entities. That's a crime against the state. They're taken from the Housing Authority. The Camden County Prosecutor's Office is using the same words that the Gloucester Township Police Department is using. They're stating that I need to file an Open Public Records Act request. And I'm telling them, no, this is the case I opened, and I have not participated in any part of this other than to bring all the information and evidence for them to review to open a case. I may be a high school dropout, but I did get my general equivalency degree, and my father served in the United States Navy. He was born in 1948. I think that's treason. We're getting dangerously close to treason here. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening. That concludes our public portion, polling of directors.
Mr. Cordis,
Nothing to report.
Chief Harkins.
Council, I want to thank you for recognizing our volunteers and the time it took to recognize our Citizen Police Academy graduates. I know how important you guys have seen it and what a great program it is. So I appreciate that support. I also want to thank you all and the community for our National Night Out, where we were out in the community at length. We were watching the weather. Many towns around us had canceled their events, and we were glad that we pushed through. We had a great night. We got great feedback, great insights from people. We had some great community. It made us very proud to be going out into the community like we did at some of the events. And so it's very important to us that how you guys were out there with us, and we appreciate that. And it makes it a special night. I'm very proud of our National Night Out, the way we do it. We actually go into the neighborhoods and meet with our neighborhood watch groups. And I know it's not on a Tuesday night, it's not always easy, but I appreciate council support, the administration support. We really just had a great night. And I want to just recognize Community Relations, Lieutenant Fisher, who is here, Officer O'Rennick, who's running around all night that night, and Weeks and Corporal McHugh, that unit that puts that all together, phone calls, making sure everything's set. So, and our Public Works also, and the whole township administration. They did a lot of preparation for that. And it really was a great night for us. So I thank you for that. I just wanted to bring to council's attention, again, it made some news, national news, but we have 2 officers that are deployed with the New Jersey Army National Guard out of Woodbury, 114. Just keep all these men, and then there's many more citizens from Gloucester Township that we're aware who are deployed. It's the largest deployment of Army National Guard in the state of New Jersey, and there's many law enforcement officers. 2 of our officers we're very proud of. On Friday night, they came under attack they're in Syria. They're an infantry unit on the front lines and whatnot. And I was able to communicate with one of the officers because communication is very sketchy, but he was able to text and communicate with us. But they had a significant attack on their base, and they were very lucky that no serious injuries occurred. It is new, it's in the news, but it's not getting enough attention, but it's really hitting close to home here, not only for us in Gloucester Township, but throughout the state of New Jersey, especially throughout the region for all the local guardsmen that are activated. So I just wanted to let you know that. Keep them in your prayers, keep them, we're here doing what we're doing tonight, talking in civil discourse and about the things we do because of the men and women that do that. And I think I just want to recognize them. So just want to let you know that, and I thank you all. Have a good night.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Mr. McGill?
Nothing to add, thank you.
Mr. Mignon?
A couple things. Congratulations to the new volunteers and the Citizens Police Academy graduation folks. And Chief, you're right. I absolutely love National Night Out. It's a great event going around and seeing everybody and mingling with the community. I know we're at each stop maybe 15, 20 minutes, but we know we're under the pressure to get to know and see and talk to everybody 15, 20 minutes before we go to the next stop. But I absolutely love that event. It's a great night. You said it's a Tuesday night. It's a long day, but it's just fantastic. It's a great event. A couple other different things. Ms. Hendricks, volunteering, getting out in the community. A couple of things on my resume. Started out in 2007 to 2017, and Officer Melendez behind you can vouch for this. I was on the board of Iriel Little League to go to vice president for the last 7 years of that. Actually won a state championship as a coach, which is probably the last state championship team in Gloucester Township. Actually today marks 11 years that happened. And a couple of other things. Mr. Mikado introduced me to Martin Luther King Day. So back in 2016, that's a great event. I know we'll probably talk about that, so I don't want to steal his thunder, but that's a great event where him and I'll take a trip to Camden and deliver peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, amongst other things, to the folks.
Cathedral Kitchen.
Cathedral Kitchen, I'm sorry. But probably the most important thing that I'm the most proud of that I'm part of in this township, it was called the Gloucester Township Field of Dreams. And we opened that up in 2017. And that's a baseball organization for special needs kids. And a couple of the folks, people in this room here, volunteer with myself to coach. And we are always looking for organizations to help be a buddy. So I would love one day, I know you said you have a team, you go out in Camden. If you have a team that would love to participate on a Saturday morning or a Friday night to come out there and be side by side with a player, be a buddy, I would love to see you do that. So that's it. Thank you.
Mrs. Grace Love?
Yes, again, congratulations to the Citizens Academy, Police Academy, and I didn't make National Night Out this year, unfortunately, but I did see all the wonderful pictures, and it's always a great event, so thank you all for everything you do during National Night Out, and prayers to go out for our military service and our police officers who have been deployed. I don't want to go again into the part about community service, only because that hits heavy for me as the social worker sitting up here on the council for 25 years. So I've spent my entire life being of service and doing things out of the goodness of my heart for my family or my friends or anyone who's ever asked me a favor or anything that I could do, any phone call I try to address, anything. So service is what I know. And I'm always, that's in my heart, it's in my blood. And so I do get emotional when I hear when I know of the entire council, what they do. And I see them and when I see them, I'm passionate about when I see them out and about. And I get excited when we're having a good time helping those who are most vulnerable, who are the most disadvantaged, who need things the most. When we deliver turkeys, when we deliver food for the needy, when we do soup events or go volunteer to make food for the less fortunate. We do this out of the goodness of our heart. We don't do this to take photo ops. And if I saw anyone doing that, I would be offended. We do it out of the goodness of our heart, and we do it daily, and we're always open to any suggestions. So if you know of anything that you think we should be volunteering for, and I am someone who graduated from Camden High, so I do know Vic, and I do know all the council members there, Chris Collins and all of them. I know what they do, and I'm very proud of the things that they do there. And we do very similar things, our township. And Camden is a very, very needy town, and they have a lot of work ahead of them. And yes, they are foot stompers, and I know that because I come from that foot stomping grounds. So that's all I like to add. But again, that's a very passionate place for me when I see our police officers here of service out doing, the resource officers in the schools. I see them all the time. I'm a school employee. So we're always doing things of service every day through the hours in Gloucester Township and around. So that's all I have to share today. But thank you for your questions. And I'm glad that we were able to answer them.
Mrs. Walters? Or, I'm sorry, Mr. Nash?
Okay, just gonna reiterate what the fellow council people are saying. I don't feel like we really need to go into detail with everything we do. We put a lot of time in, but you have every right to ask that. So thank you for your words, and have a great night.
Mrs. Walters?
I want to thank everybody for coming, and the police, and the new citizens, in the academy. It's very, nice of them to volunteer their time. It is, on their time, so it's nice to see them coming out and learning. And thank you for letting us know, about the officers overseas. As far as what I do for service, I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for almost 30 years. So whether I help a patient's family, I work inner city also as well, along being in the school. So whether it's bringing a cup of coffee for somebody's mother, I'll do that for them to get through the day because they are out of state. Whether it's, I went around through the township, some librarians I know collecting books so that another nurse can send these books to her country so that kids can read them. They don't have access to this. So I'm doing that on my time. I help with Martin Luther King Day, the projects. I help Field of Dreams be a coach for those special needs kids to give them an opportunity to play and to be part of a team. I am willing to, and I've done this in the past, families in need, I will go and buy clothes for their children. I will buy food that day and deliver it for them. No child or family should go without. So if I know of something, I will go and do it and bring people with me. So if there's something that needs to be addressed, something that's a concern, please bring it to us. We're here to help.
Mrs. Reynolds?
I would like to congratulate those who graduated the academy. It's a great thing that people get involved in and learn about our town. And to the volunteers, thank them for what they do. That's an amazing thing that we have in this township. That citizens are able to be involved and be active, and it's positive. The chief, thank you for letting us know about that. I'll definitely add that to my prayers. Same as Tara, I've been a nurse for over 30 years. I've been working in the city of Camden for 30 years. Volunteered many different things through that, through the schools and backpack drives and Christmases and all different things. I picked up patients before their families have had surgery because they couldn't get there at 5:30 in the morning. So I've driven, gotten up extra early and picked them up and brought them to the hospital. We all do various things. I think it's just in all of our DNA, and that's one of the reasons that we're where we are. And I hope that the town can see that and appreciate that and get involved and do those positive things the way we have all done them. None of us looks for recognition for any of it, but it is what we do and it is why we're here and it is part of us. Thank you, have a great night.
Mr. Mercado?
I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening. Congratulations to the Citizens Police Academy graduates and also to our 2 new volunteers. And thank you, Chief and Lieutenant Fisher and your department for the National Night Out. That was a wonderful event. Very well done. With that, I entertain the motion to adjourn. Is there a second? All those in favor? Aye. Have a great evening, everyone.